Good evening. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Baggage Claim, the only show where we teach you how to claim the bag, secure the bag, and most importantly, protect the bag. I'm Charles.
I'm Jaz, and we are here today at the Henderson Financial Group. We are
Absolutely.
co-workers and cousins, and we have a wonderful episode for you guys today. But I'm going to first start off with the phone number, 305-825-1444.
And we got to give it to them again. We got to repeat 305-825-1444. Give us a call. We're not the only ones here at the office. A lot of financial planners are here, people who can help you with your finances. And of course, Mr. Henderson, a CFP. So go ahead and give us a call whenever you need. We are right here.
Absolutely. We have a really exciting episode today. We are going to be having a conversation, a good conversation, and we definitely want everyone to interact with us. Hi, Miss Redhead. Hello.
Hey, Sunday blessings, Miss Redhead.
We'd like some interaction on this conversation. Hey,
What's
Jarvis.
up, Jarvis? How you doing, man?
So today is exciting, but before we get into that, there's been some big news.
Oh, man.
Okay, some
lot of big news.
Bitcoin news that makes Charles smile.
I'm going to have to go in for this one.
Yeah.
And so Bitcoin, what is Bitcoin? What is Bitcoin?
Bitcoin.
It is a lot of beautiful, beautiful developments going on with Bitcoin. First of all, recently it just passed a $1 trillion market capitalization. Let's clap it up for that.
Hey, Mr. Ingrao.
What's up, Mr. Ingrao? How you doing, sir? So what does that mean? Hey, Miss Hall.
Thank
Hey, Miss
you.
Brown.
Hi, Miss Hall. Hi, Miss
What
Brown.
does that mean? A $1 trillion market capitalization.
Wow, wait, 1 trillion with the
A
T?
trillion with a T.
You guys remember, it takes about 33,000 years to
She loves
count to
bringing that up.
1 trillion.
It's favorite thing
it's
to say.
insane to me. So $1 trillion market cap. Tell them about
Absolutely. And it's only a few companies with $1 trillion. Think of your Apples, your Facebooks, your Googles. In fact, not even Facebook. Think of Microsoft, companies like that,
that. Wow,
Amazon.
that's big.
So a $1 trillion market cap, that means the price of Bitcoin times as many people own it, as many that there are out there, you multiply those, you get $1 trillion. That says to me, this is becoming real. It's not just magic internet money. This is a real thing now.
Yeah. It feels like yesterday was magic internet money.
Yeah.
And it was like tied to the black market. Remember, it was like, ooh, Bitcoin is some bad stuff. It was insane. And now you have these top companies endorsing it almost.
Absolutely.
Did you say
Accepting
MasterCard?
it. MasterCard, Visa, Tesla,
That's
PayPal, even Square, who owns Cash App. All of these companies are saying, okay, we can now pay with Bitcoin. We are accepting it. It's a real thing.
That feels like the future. And the fact that I'm only 25 years old and I can literally remember like it was yesterday when Bitcoin was like, oh, fake internet money. And now it's being accepted by these top companies and has $1 trillion market cap. That was just a few years ago. That ought to tell you how fast things are moving along here.
Man, absolutely. It makes me think. So we were born 95, 96. We weren't really aware when the internet first came around, when it was developed. This feels like when the internet was first developed. It feels like, okay, something is bubbling, it's
How you
picking
know how
up
it feels
steam.
if you weren't born? You just said you
I
weren't
imagine this is how it would feel. 'Cause,
Okay, I get that.
I mean, the internet, that was such a different concept. It was hard to grasp early on. Once it became a part of your everyday life,
That's true.
that's when most people picked it up.
And when your everyday companies are accepting something like Bitcoin, it's going to be a part of everyday life.
Absolutely.
Are we at the point where we can say Bitcoin is going to be a part of our everyday life?
I say yes. But I'm a huge believer in it. But you know
Bitcoin
what?
advocate.
Yeah, I'm a Bitcoin advocate. But, that's not the only development. I think that just speaks to the future. And, of course, our topic today speaks to the future as well.
Yes.
It's a lot of things going on, a
Yes.
lot of big things. And Miami is at the center of the conversation. How about
At the
that?
center of the conversation. This word, gentrification. If
Oh,
you hear
man.
that, if you know what it is, either it puts a sour taste in your mouth or it puts a big smile on your face. I feel like, is there an in between? I don't know. I might be in between, actually. I feel like I am in between.
I feel like it. I feel like it makes sense to be in between as long as you're looking at it from both sides. Only bad part is I really feel like it affects a certain group more often than others.
It does. And when it comes to looking at, like you said, looking at it from both sides, I feel like you should be like that about everything. Don't just look at it at one angle. Check it out at different angles and see what it really means to you.
Okay.
But sometimes you don't have a choice at one angle.
Yeah.
But gentrification. First, let's talk about what is gentrification. When you look at the definition,
please give them the Webster's
yes, the actual
definition
is the process whereby the character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing, and attracting new businesses, typically displacing current inhabitants in the process.
That is a mouthful.
That's gentrification.
You know what? I have a different definition of gentrification.
Okay.
So when I think of gentrification, what it means to me is if a Starbucks, a Whole Foods, or a 24-hour fitness is moved into the hood, that's gentrification. And how far along in gentrification you are is how many of those three you have. If you got all three, it's over. It's gentrified.
Over.
That's just what it is.
It's over with. It's too far gone.
That's what I think about.
Once you start seeing the double pump pumpkin spice lattes walking down the street, you're like, oh snap.
You see people walk around in flip-flops and short shorts,
Uggs,
Oakleys and stuff.
This is it.
That's how you know what it is.
Yeah. Gentrification, on one hand, I can see the sour taste because it does displace the residents. If you have a specific area that's now being developed and you have businesses moving in there, everything around it gets more expensive.
Absolutely.
Especially those property taxes. And sometimes people will offer the people who live in the area big checks, to move out. We'll pay this much for your house, and you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. But that doesn't necessarily change their lifestyle, didn't increase their income. So now you've got this check. What do people do when they usually get a little extra money? They pay some bills, they do a little spending, maybe the rest of it goes to savings, and then it's time to find a new home because you've just taken this big check and there's no affordable housing out there. So that is a really bad part of gentrification. That's the sad part of gentrification.
Okay, I will give you the other side. We just spoke about seeing both sides.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that does happen, and it does happen to a lot of people of color, our people.
Yes.
But, one thing to look at, they say there are good, there's good to gentrification. That's often the argument. So they say, all right, gentrification, new businesses move in. Of course, property taxes are going to rise, but also, renovations happen. So old, abandoned homes, things of that nature, that is going to be renovated. The community is going to look better, and it's going to have more attention. You get more local government funding, schools improve. They say the services improve and the products and the businesses and all this stuff. That's supposed to mean more jobs and better jobs. So that's one of the good parts of gentrification. That's the argument, at least, about how it affects the community.
And I see that.
Tension the argument.
And I feel that. But it's interesting because no matter what side of gentrification you're on, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like it, you can see. Look at Wynwood. Look at what's going on in Little Haiti. Look at our mayor. Tell me about the mayor.
Mr. Ingrell, he said, it's happening in Miami Gardens as I invested there in 2013. Very smart man.
Yes.
We're going to get into all of that.
Yes.
But you know what? The mayor. My guy, Mayor Francis Suarez.
Not an endorsement.
Yes, I'm a Democrat. He's a Republican, but I love him because he's 43 years old, young guy, and he's really pushing for the future. He's future forward, and something that he's doing. He is an advocate of Bitcoin and for tech companies. One thing that he did recently, we got it right here. He actually put up a billboard in San Francisco. If you don't know what's happening in San Francisco, a lot of businesses are moving out. Elon Musk was a big one. He moved his company from San Francisco, the tech hub, to Austin, Texas. And a lot of companies are moving from there, from California to Austin, Texas, and to Florida. So what does our mayor do? He puts up a billboard in San Francisco that says, thinking about moving to Miami, DM me. This is right off the highway near the Golden Gate Bridge.
That's intense.
That is intense.
He's literally like calling out to the people, come to Miami. I didn't know that this was a thing. I didn't know that we had, our leadership asking other people in other states like to move to Miami. He has an agenda.
Absolutely.
Of course. And we're not mad at his agenda. You said he's big on tech, and of course we want development. Who doesn't want areas to be developed?
Absolutely.
I just hope that includes affordable housing.
I hope so as well. But he did speak about that a little bit. So one thing that he did say, since he's gunning so hard for, these tech companies to move in, these startups, hedge funds, and of course, investment firms, he's saying he still wants to focus on the Miami natives. So, of course, there's always pushback to what he's doing. Like, hey, what's going to happen to the people still living here? He's saying he still wants to keep affordable housing. So that's one of his goals.
So when you hear about gentrification, the ideal, people who are pro-gentrification oftentimes say it helps the community because it brings jobs to the community. But the thing about gentrification in the past and what we've seen is it doesn't typically happen that way. Most times, the jobs don't go to the people living there in that moment. And so then we're like, all right, well, of course I'm not going to sit here and be anti-gentrification because at the end of the day, we need to develop and there's a lot of money to be made. But I will say it's so important to make sure that we have elected officials who care about making sure that there's still affordable housing. When the people come in from California or wherever else and they buy up all the land and they change, Wynwood, they change Miami to Wynwood or, whatever. When they develop these areas, it needs to be top priority, in my opinion, that people are able to move somewhere. So you have elected officials who will make sure that there are opportunity zones and that there are grants for affordable housing and grants for people to develop affordable housing. But when you have elected officials that don't care about that, then that's when you have the bad part of gentrification taking over.
Okay, so that was a mouthful. What are you saying?
I'm saying vote. Vote in these small local elections. It is not enough to show up in bulk for your presidential elections. It's good and, it's amazing, but it's not enough. You have to vote locally as well, because if we're even talking about the school system and how gentrification will affect the school system, which you're super excited about, you have to have elected officials who care. So you have to vote, and you think it doesn't really matter, but it does.
That's very, very high and mighty. That's beautiful. Without grandstanding, let's just say I appreciate what he's doing. I feel like South Florida has a mayor that cares. And one thing that I'm looking forward to is when these tech companies come down, the school system is being renovated. So, for instance, one of the top billionaires who moved to Miami, he was early on the trend. He says, he wants all of these things to happen. He wants his billionaire friends to come down along with their companies and startups and hedge funds. But he's saying he also wants the community school system, the public school system to be renovated. Right now, kids are lacking in terms of skills like coding. There's none of that. A lot of basic financial information, there's lacking in that.
That's true.
Me personally, I went to public schools and I did not receive any teaching at all about coding or things having to do with computers. So I feel like people coming down, they're going to change that. And Mayor Suarez says he wants to be on that trend.
Okay, and that is so important, but it even goes further than Mayor Suarez. It goes for the next 10, 15 years. So we need to be voting people, especially when the downside of gentrification affects us disproportionately. We can see that, it affects Black and brown people more than it would affect, others. So we definitely have to stay on top of it.
That is what's happened in the past, but, I got hope for Miami. I believe in us. So, let's get to it. I want to tell some people about some developments that's been happening in the community.
Yes.
So we know Mayor Suarez, he's asking a lot of people to come down. He really wants these tech companies and these financial companies to come to South Florida because, no state income tax, lower corporate taxes than New York and California, and of course the weather. But on top of that, so in 2020, nearly 170,000 people left LA in 2020.
170,000 left LA. It's a really crowded city, so I hope that improved traffic.
Absolutely. And you know what? I feel like these people coming down is going to change the city a lot. For instance, one thing that's happened. So, speaking of changing the city, Miami isn't known as a tech hub, but last month, Mayor Suarez and Marcelo Clar, I hope I said that right, he's the CEO of a hedge fund, and they announced that they will invest $100 million in Miami-based startups. I feel like that is something that's really going to help Miami natives, the people who are already here and have these great ideas. I meet a lot of people every single day who have amazing ideas, not just in tech, but just ideas for the future,
Yeah. So we are excited about the future.
Absolutely.
It is exciting. I don't want to be like the gentrification rain parade, but it is exciting. And for those who are saying, how can I cash in? Like if gentrification is happening, if you want it to affect you in a positive way, how can you be a part of it? That's an interesting question.
I think it is. An interesting way would be to, like Mr. Ingrayo did. He said he invested in
Ding, ding, ding,
2013
ding,
in
ding.
properties. There are a lot of lots and a lot of properties, not just in the South Florida area, but also in surrounding areas.
You got
We know
like
people who are investing in Port St. Lucie and Fort Myers. Yeah,
Yeah.
places like that.
Other parts of Florida, it's not just Miami, because if you think about it, eventually people are going to migrate. It can't just everyone be moving to South Florida. The whole state is going to be popping at some point. So with that happening, it's a good idea to think about real estate investing. And even if you don't want to be the landlord, and you can buy property, you can buy land and just pay the taxes on it every year, and that value is just going to rise and rise, and then eventually you sell it, or you could develop something on it. But it's a good idea to, if you are in the position to cash in on gentrification, because it's not just happening here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, of course, we don't want to make it seem like it's just that simple, because the ball is already rolling. A lot of things have been happening, and things that we don't know about have been putting into place. You have specific, you come across the Little Haiti initiative, right?
Yes, it's so interesting. I was in Little Haiti and I was looking at some lots. The prices, I was in one block and it was like $200,000 for some land, and it was insane
For
because
one lot of land?
yeah, well, you could build a few units on that
Okay.
land, but I think it was like one, or it could have been two. There was something that could be knocked down. Unimportant. It was like 200,000. 5 blocks up, a lot that's much smaller than the one for 200,000 was like 800,000. And I'm like, this is so interesting, because as I'm looking around, it all looks the same. One lot didn't look better than the other. But then I did my research and I'm like, oh snap, that Magic City Innovation District is coming to Little Haiti, and it's going to be $1 billion development project.
$1 billion development.
$1 billion. And our commissioners have already voted on it, and it's happening.
Okay, so if you don't know what the Magic City Innovation District is, so in Little Haiti, we know that is, hold on, you want to tell them this? This is yours?
I don't know what you're about to say.
All right, so if you don't know what's going on, we've all heard of Little Haiti. That is one of the quote-unquote underdeveloped areas in Miami. So what's happening? This Magic City Innovation District, that is an area where, it's above sea level. So Miami, it is expected to rise 3 to 6 feet in sea level within the next 50 years. That means a lot of people are going to be displaced, are going to have to leave their homes. And Little Haiti is actually one of the areas in Miami that is highest up when it comes to land level. So it's going to take a long time for the sea level to reach it, if it even does. Now, mind you, these are things that are 50 years out, but they're already planning for it. So what's happening with this initiative? It's $1 billion development that's supposed to be building there, and it's actually targeted to startups and entrepreneurs. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to find, housing in Little Haiti and build housing in Little Haiti for tech entrepreneurs and for people who found startups. Does that make sense? I know that was a lot.
Yes, it makes all the sense in the world.
Okay.
And then that brings me to the question of, where are the people going to go who already live there? And then the fact that it is the highest level of Florida, because we know Florida's practically underwater, that tells me with time, people are going to have to be moving there.
Unfortunately.
Naturally, we're going to want to migrate to safer land, drier land.
I just find it interesting that they found Little Haiti, the place where the sea level, where the land level is highest in Miami, to move them there.
That's
the place where you want to move them.
So
where
what
we
about
already
the
have
Floridians? Culture. What about us? What about us, Mr. Gentrification?
Oh, relax. Let me reiterate. I voted Democrat. I'm for the people.
I'm dead. I'm for the people.
That is one of the, less appealing parts of gentrification. And that's one of the things that I really hope can be addressed. Mayor Suarez, he seems like a good guy. He's Republican, but he seems like a good guy. There's nothing wrong with that. And he acts like he really cares for the people. And, at this point, it's like we said, it's no stopping the ball. It's already rolling.
Yeah.
I just hope we don't get trampled.
Yeah. The fact that it's happening, like, there's no stopping gentrification. It's just gonna happen. So you have to figure out how you can get on the right side of it, or how you can just kind of like skate free and not have it affect you. We know that for places like Wynwood,
Oh man,
you don't really hear too much noise about it. People like to go there to look at art and, you know, have fun and things like that. But at some point, those places were people's homes.
absolutely.
Yeah, so it's not some far-fetched thing. It's definitely happening and still underway.
Definitely. If you
So-
look at I'm sorry.
No,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. You go ahead. If you look at what
Miami Gardens. So I went to school. I went to school called Crestview. That's in Miami Gardens. It's on 183rd and 27th, right by there. It's right on the same avenue of the Dolphin Stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
So growing up there, Carol Mart was right there. You know, they had all of these
Carol
different areas they had. I don't think the Foot Locker was there. But what I'm saying is it looks so much different than it looks now.
Yeah.
Now they have a 24-hour fitness.
the Starbucks.
They have a Starbucks.
Saw the
Whole
nicest
Foods
Starbucks
isn't
I
there
ever
yet.
Seen there.
For real?
Yeah, I've never seen such a nice Starbucks. It was
It
like
was
all
beautiful.
glass. It was
Yeah.
interesting.
It's new. And
It's
the
new.
Whole Foods isn't there yet, but they got Aldi's.
Mm.
Gentrification is definitely under the way and is really not something that we can stop.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, I like what you said about the lots and about the building. And I like what Mr. Ingrail did, went ahead and invested in property in that area. That's future forward, you know what I'm saying?
He says that he had his business in Miami Gardens, so he knew the value there, which is
That's
important because
beautiful.
I'm here like, yeah, buy some land, buy some land. But it is true. You don't want to just go in blind. It is like to say that it's happening and just like, well, deal with it. It just brings me back to voting because you want officials that care about you, even if you don't believe in voting. It can't hurt to just try it, just in case it is a real thing. You may as well just try it.
I mean, it is a real thing. And I want to, I love my statistics. I really want to, give some information just to let people know what's really going on. So we talk about gentrification in Miami. Well, we're already kind of, when it comes to, how do I say, prosperity, it's not equal. That's what we can say. When it comes to Miami, it's already second in the nation for economic inequality behind New York. In Miami, compared to, whites, African Americans are 2.5 times more likely to live in poverty, and Hispanics nearly twice as likely. I appreciate you bringing up the point, what's going to happen to the people, because we know Miami, that's a city that's big on tourists, it's big on tourism. It's really big on the restaurant and the catering and the service industry. If these new people come in and, these businesses are built and the prices go up, I'm just hoping these people can find better paying jobs, or their jobs that they have now increase in pay.
Yes, and I think that again, back to the voting, because like we said, you can't stop it, but you have to have community leaders that put in little programs. They have like little job programs and just little initiatives to make sure that people are not just kicked out by gentrification. I would like to see, since you say Suarez is your guy, I would like to see some sort of promises or plans. I say promises because, politicians, but some sort of plans to make sure that the people in the area are also taken care of. Like, let's get some job programs in place. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be new buildings. Let's get some people who live in the area to be able to work in the buildings. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It seems unfair to someone just move in your neighborhood and kick you out.
I do understand what you're saying. And I agree with you. Don't let me sit
And
here and seem like the bad guy.
I agree with you too. I agree with you too, because why wouldn't you want areas to develop? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, those abandoned houses, those, broken fences, and it'll all be fixed and it'll be nice, but yeah.
Honestly, the one thing that I think about most, I want the kids. I want the kids to be prepared. That's what I want. I
For the
really want
future.
for us to be prepared,
It's true.
because, man, it's the future. And I feel like a lot of times we're behind. We were behind. We didn't get to participate in the gold rush, the initial American gold rush. I'm taking it back to the 1800s. It wasn't for us, nor did we get to, when other ethnic groups moved to America, they received grants and things of that nature, and, land that we didn't receive. I feel like we were behind on the internet, age of information. era, I feel like this is a time where we can actually set our children up for success. I feel like this is the time to do that, and I would hate for us to get left behind and let the same thing happen.
It's like when you're at the, I don't know why I'm saying when you're at the beach surfing, I don't know what surfs, but yeah, when you're at the beach surfing, you see the big wave come, you miss that wave, and you're like, all right, I'm on for the next one.
I'm saying,
I don't surf, but
this is that was a good one. Yeah. You're either gonna ride the wave or you're gonna get trampled by the wave.
The wave is coming. The wave's coming, or you can get out the way, but that wave's coming. Mr. Ingrail says in Michigan they have a conservation that buys land so developers can't overbuild. See, that's what I'm talking about.
I appreciate that.
We need to vote, and when it's time to vote in the local elections, you see what those politicians feel about stuff like conservations that can buy some land so that you can't have people kicking people out of their homes. It's very important.
I mean, it definitely is. One thing you touched on, opportunity zones, right?
Yes, they have initiatives for people who want to develop or who want to build in certain areas of the city, where if you are building in this area, it's mad discounts, mad cuts, you know what I'm saying? Grants, it's help from the government, from the city, I should say, to make sure that you are building affordable housing. And we want affordable housing. So
absolutely,
if you are wanting to get into development or even real estate, think about the people.
Or tech and finance.
Or tech and finance.
Yes.
Yes. You have anything else to add? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. What's up?
Something about real estate.
Okay.
We talked about solo 401ks last episode, and I just wanted to say this. We talked about how the solo 401k is incredibly flexible. If you didn't watch last episode, you should go back and watch. It's a retirement account for entrepreneurs, basically. And if you are not really into the market and you're not really keen on having a retirement account that's tied to the market, something else you can do with your solo 401k is purchase real estate. And if you purchase real estate with your solo 401k, no, you cannot get all the tax deductions from having real estate. No tax cuts. But if the market is scary for you and the thought of having your account tied to the market is scary, you can purchase real estate and imagine purchasing it in an area that is up and coming and developing. And that right there is your retirement account value going up when that land goes up, or I'm sorry, when the area property values in the area. I've said every word except property values.
When
the property values in the area go up, that's your retirement account going up. And real estate is a really safe investment because at the end of the day, if the market crashes, if this happens, that piece of land is still right there. It's tangible, and you can sell it. If it takes you 10 more years to sell it, you're going to sell it and you're going to get your money and then some.
I mean, that's good, though.
It's an option.
Long-term thinking, that's where it's at. And just to clarify, it's not even just for entrepreneurs. If you have a business, whether it's a side business, anything at all, independent contractor, you can have a solo 401k. So definitely go ahead and watch that episode. It was last week. And so I wanted to wrap it up, go ahead and give a conclusion. If you guys have any questions or, any comments at all on gentrification or just the future of South Florida that we spoke about, go ahead and drop it in the comments.
Yes. Mr. Ingrail says, call Henderson Financial to get into real estate with a strategy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is the place to do it.
It's one thing to get into real estate.
Yeah.
It's another thing to get into real estate with strategy.
Oh, say that again, please.
It's one thing to get into real estate. It's another thing to get into real estate with strategy. So call the Henderson Financial Group.
Absolutely. So, we spoke a lot today. What are we really saying? So what we wanted to touch upon was the future. It's all about the future. What's going on now is what you can see, but what's going on in the future is what really, really affects you. If it's here now, it's too late. This is what it is, but you can still prepare for the future. So what's happening in South Florida's future? Tech companies, startups, hedge funds, and investment firms are going to be coming down. Mayor Suarez, the mayor of Miami, is pushing hard to get these large corporations and these large billion-dollar companies to come to Miami and to, plant here, have their headquarters here, and to renovate the area in total. What comes with that? Higher property values, hopefully more job prospects, but it may not because, employees can always move down. So what we're really saying is be cognizant, be aware, know what's going on in your community, and prepare for it. You said something about the, political side, correct?
Yes. You want to vote. You want
Yes.
to be a part of the decision making in your community. It is not enough to just vote for the president. You have to vote for what's going on in your backyard, because these changes, the rules and regulations that come with them, are set by you, the voter, the citizen. So please vote. It is important. And also something
felt that.
Thank you. I felt like it was a public service announcement.
felt that.
Thank you. Something else you said
Yeah.
is just about knowing what's going on in your community. And I always say, with knowledge comes enlightenment. With enlightenment, you can make good decisions. Even if this just means you're thinking about buying a home for your family in the future, you want to know what's going to be in the area, what the area is going to be like, the projects that are going on, the billion-dollar projects that are being planned outside of your community,
Literally.
inside your community, outside your front door. You just want to know. So,
Oh, one thing I forgot. Let me say this. So a company, a startup, moved down from New York. It's called 8 Sleep. Of course, the CEO is a billionaire. He's someone who relocated from New York to Miami. Let me just show y'all how deep it gets. So this guy, 8 Sleep, he announced 20% off mattresses to tech founders, investors, and employees who relocate to Miami. That was just announced in January, last month.
they're plotting on our city.
You see how deep that
They're
is?
plotting on our city. He's giving out discounts to move here.
To move here.
And people should know this.
They should.
People should know this.
That's why we give it out.
Share the video. Tell your friends.
Absolutely. Anything else for you?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank you.
Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday. We're tuning off. Have a good one.
Good night. It's still on.